Well, this just got interesting. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Joshua W56 here, and today we have some interesting news regarding the 2026 Thomas Show and what's coming next year. I wanted to make this video 2 weeks ago when the news came out, but unfortunately I was sick and I couldn't talk properly. Fortunately, my voice has mostly gotten better, but as you can tell, it is a bit raspy. Anyways, let's get into this. Early in the month of July, as we were getting looks at Wave 3 of the Metal Collection range, we got a look at next year's motorized lineup, which includes Ashima, a character whom I kinda expected to show up sooner or later. Didn't think we'd get much more information on who else would be returning. But then in the early hours of the 28th of July, right as I was heading to bed, we got diecast listings for Young Bao and another troublesome truck. Now I heard talks that Mattel was planning to bring out different versions of the troublesome trucks in different colors, so I'm assuming this is another regular plank truck, but in a different color. But Young Bao is what really piqued my interest. Now I'm not too surprised that Young Bao has been confirmed. He and Ashima have been pretty popular, being some of the few great race characters to become recurring characters in BoCo and AEG. I'm happy to see both of them confirmed to be returning, but I'm also curious about what their roles in the show will be. Will they be recurring visitors to Sodor like Hero? Or will they be staying on the island full time? Or will Thomas come and visit them in the next special? Who knows? Little did we know, this was just the beginning, as later that day we got more information on who will be coming next year. We got 2 listings for 2 packs, one for Rhaenyra and Sir Handel, and the other for Whiff and Scruff. This pretty much confirms that the other narrow gauge engines are coming back too, as well as Scruff, who I guess makes sense since he works with Whiff at the waist dump. Not only that, we also got listings for more characters: Terrence, Skarloey, Spencer, Stepney, Hector, Victor, and Timothy. Oh yeah, Ben and the Troublesome Fang were also confirmed. And a normal version of Edward too. And a 2-pack with Percy in the mail van. As well as some variants too. Spencer and Skarloey didn't really surprise me. I kind of expected them to show up too. Spencer maybe a little later, but still. Timothy is an interesting one, because now Bill and Ben have someone to share the clay pits with. Although I also wonder if they'll bring back Marion too. Stepney and Hector though are the real big surprises, because this proves that not only are non-CGI characters possible besides Scruffy and Bulstrode, but even hit our ones too. I used to wonder if Hector would really have much potential in CGI, since his arc in his episode seemed to have wrapped up perfectly, but lately I've been having other thoughts about that. If the rumor that the trucks are gonna replace the Diesels as the main antagonists of the show is true, I'm thinking Hector could be used as an example of one of the good trucks. That could work. Now as for Stepney, since this show is gonna be a different canon than the original, I'm hoping they go the Railway Series route and just have Stepney be preserved at the real Bluebell Railway in Sussex. He could still be a frequent or occasional visitor to Sodor and run a certain branch line with Bluebells during his visits, but I don't really want them to muddle with real-life railway history and keep him on Sodor. That would be like if Flying Scotsman or Mallard were part of the Northwestern's fleet. Terrence I'm not too surprised about either. Now we have all of the non-rail vehicles tied to the Farquhar branch. Also, here's an edit I made last week of how I think Terrence's Metal Collection model will look. Victor too doesn't surprise me. He's the engine who works at the Locomotive Works. It only makes sense to bring him back. I'm kinda surprised Kevin wasn't announced too. In fact, I actually expected him to be announced before Victor. But I'm sure we will see him later too. Can't have Victor or Kevin without the other. It also makes me curious about what the case will be with the works. Will they have 2 separate works for both Steam and Diesel, like in the CGI series? Or will they just have one, like in the Railway series? Glad to see Mattel isn't phasing out the idea of twins, and we are gonna get both Bill and Ben. As for Ben, I've seen some people speculate that he and Bill will be different colors to make it easier to tell them apart, since they no longer have their nameplates. But I don't think they will. I feel that would defeat the whole point of them being identical twins. I think they'll most likely just give Ben a different eye color to make it easier to tell who's who. The troublesome fan I also kind of expected, since we are getting the troublesome tankard this year. The male fan was also pretty much an inevitability, given that it was released in motorized this year. And last but not least, we also got a listing for dye of some sort. Now this could be either a variant of Diesel or Diesel 10. Now I know the latter was recently announced by Bachmann, but keep in mind this doesn't automatically mean that he is coming back. Although I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Diesel 10 later down the line. And on top of that, we also got listings for some new characters too. Now we knew since last year that there would be a few new characters, but we didn't really seem to get any information on them for a while. It was as if they were saving them for the second season, and the first season would just go the season 8 route of not adding any new characters. And it might still be the case, but then again, it's not uncommon for them to wait until the following year to make toys of new characters. Unless they're in the special of the year or straight DVD episodes. Who knows if that will apply to Jay, Anil, Deepak, or Emsley, or if they're gonna wait till next year to introduce them. Well, this day we got news that Deepak would be getting a diecast next year, along with another new character named Brian, who's being sold in a 2-pack with Thomas. I'm honestly surprised it took them this long to add a character with that name in Thomas. There are also listings for Smoke and Ash too, though the former was confirmed to be a variant of Thomas, and I'm assuming the latter is short for Ashima. The next day was when it really got interesting. As it turns out, Mattel renewed the trademarks for Rickety and BoCo's names on the 22nd and 27th of July respectively. Rickety really surprised me, because he's not really an official character from the Railway series, TV series, or All Engines Go, but rather an original character created for the Wooden Railway range. Wonder if they're gonna put him in the show. BoCo, on the other hand, got me really excited, because he had not been seen in the show since Season 5, which was way back in 1998, and he has been highly requested to return for years. Even recently with the reveal of Scruffy, there were still some who doubted that BoCo would ever return. However, I had a feeling that we might see him turn up again if this show was gonna deliver. But this happening this year was quite a surprise. Now, does this mean that BoCo is coming back? Well, not exactly. However, it does confirm that he's on Mattel's radar at least. So he could come back later on. Personally, I think they should first focus on bringing back characters who were in CGI before they get to the likes of BoCo or Duke. But if BoCo does return, I'll be excited to see him, because now he can finally get as much character development that Daisy got in the CGI series. Already this might seem like an everybody is here scenario. However, we still have no confirmation of Rebecca, Donald, Douglas, or even Connor and Sandy for that matter. Now, I've already voiced my opinions about Rebecca's likelihood before in another video, and I know she isn't exactly that popular with fans for understandable reasons, but if they're willing to bring back Charlie or add this many characters who are even less relevant than her, I don't think Rebecca's completely off the table. Plus, I think she has potential to be improved as a character. Donald and Douglas, I'm kind of expecting them to appear sooner or later. There's no way they would just have the rest of numbers 1 to 12, but leave out 9 and 10. I don't even care about Connor or Sandy, since I don't really watch All Engines Go, but I doubt that Bruno is gonna be the only character from that show that returns. Besides, I'm sure they could find a way to work them or any other All Engines Go characters into the new show. Also, what is going on with the original Flynn? The name Flynn Jr. implies that the original Flynn must still exist. I need answers, Mattel. Overall, all this news is making me more excited to see the new Thomas show next month. It seems like Mattel really is trying to make up for Big World Big Adventures in All Engines Go. The Metal Collection range really does seem to be going for the die-cast cars approach, where they make as many characters as possible. And I can't wait to see who gets revealed next. Okay, with all that said, that is it for this video. I'll see you whenever the show's trailer comes out. Seriously, it might as well be the Thomas equivalent to GTA 6 at this point. Oh wait, never mind. It's finally here.